All right, well, welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Denny Kidd, who plays Brady, Mason Johnson, who's Adam.
What's up, guys?
And writer Tyler Coyne.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, of Night of the Undead, which is, from what I understand, it's playing today, but this weekend we're playing at the theaters.
Yep.
So give us, well, for people watching right now, where can they see it when it's going to be playing this weekend?
So this Friday, it's going to premiere at the Key Twin Cinema in Russell Springs, Kentucky. If you're local to the area, come check it out. It's advertised everywhere. There's also a page on Facebook. It's posted all over there. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram. It's just Mason Johnson. Instagram page is Edaw_Nassam. That's my middle name and first name backwards. But yeah, you can check it out there. Saturday, it's going to be here in our local city. I think that's going to be probably the biggest premiere. That's where I'm from. I know a lot of people here. So everybody knows Denny as well that plays Brady. I would assume that everybody's going to be headed to the local show here in Somerset as well on Saturday. That's at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is actually streaming right now for a horror movie festival. Guys, can you shed some light on that for me? I didn't actually get a chance to check out the details. I just recently became a father, so I'm kind of out of the loop.
Oh, well, congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. I've had a lot going on, man.
Yeah, I believe it's the Liftoff Film Festival, and kind of to add on to what Mason was saying there, Kenny was telling us like people can they pay a certain amount and they can watch the film, and I believe that they can vote.
Yes,
and,
$12.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, especially after the pandemic, the rise of streaming of virtual festivals. We do one ourselves, Without Your Head. We do all short film one. But, it's cool because used to be you'd have to travel around, which if you can, the best way to see a movie is on the big screen. But it's also nice to, if you're in an area that doesn't get a lot of festivals and you don't have to travel, you can do the virtual festivals. So
absolutely.
And I guess you should tell everyone what the movie is about, Night of the Undead. We'll start with Tyler since he's the writer.
Okay, so just a bunch of fans here of the original movie, and what we tried to do was, we tried to make a sequel that was true to the original. We understand, as you were mentioning some of the copyright issues before, I know it's a sort of tread lightly scenario. However, we were thinking, how can we honor the original, but at the same time, how can we make a movie that stands on its own? So it was trying to find that balance between, like I said, not irritating 50% of horror fans who hold that film up as the holy grail that it is. Like, how do we politely pay respect to this, but also bring our own vision to life? And that was, like I said, striking that balance was very hard, especially in the early stages of development. There was a lot of back and forth. Should we do this? No, like we had a lot of ideas. Some that came to fruition, some that did not. But at the end of the day, I'm really proud of what everybody did. I just wrote it, and then everyone else had to do the hard work. So I had to sit back while these guys just, weekend after weekend, 100-degree heat, working their asses off just to make this a reality. It's just it's truly an honor to be a part of this group. It really is.
So how did you get involved, Denny?
Actually, I'd seen, I think they were looking for somebody, or maybe I was.
Yeah, we actually had somebody in to fill the role for Brady, and they bounced out. They bailed out last minute, and it was like the next day. Then he was like, "You know what? Sign me up. Let's go."
Denny, had you seen the original?
I've done music. I've done music for like different like B movies, and I think I might have like reached out to Jake about doing music. I don't remember exactly, but next thing I know, he had me to read a script and then asked me if I wanted to be. He said, he was like, "So you like horror movies?" And then the next day I found out it's Night of the Living Dead. And I was like, that's like one of the greatest movies ever, man. Like, absolutely. Like, we none of us in the movie knew each other, like, until, day one.
Because I thought maybe like the Kentucky crew knew each other or something. So you guys didn't know each other at all.
We had never met. I knew Mackenzie, but we actually, we worked together. And the first day on set, I mean, like I said, I knew her, and then I just met Brianna, which she plays Piper, and then I just met Denny, who plays Brady, and we all just became best friends, man. Like we just lifted off from there on. We killed it. I mean, we all stepped right into our roles. Big shout out to Tyler. I always make this a big deal when it comes to my role, Adam, because this guy had never even, I don't even think we had even talked, bro. Like we never had a conversation one time. And I read this script, and I always tell everybody, like, Adam was me. I didn't have to be Adam. You know what I mean? Our personalities and like just the things that he says in the movie, the things that he does. I mean, just when something happens and the dude scratches his head or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? It's, I fell right into it. We're just alike. So Tyler's he's a wizard, man. He's a legend. He wrote everybody's part to fit our actual personalities and who we are. And we stepped on set first day, became best friends, fell right into it, and here we are. You know, I mean, we're about to be on the big screen this weekend. So
yeah, it's very exciting. Tyler, so how did you write for them if you didn't know them?
Great question. So I mean, I had glimpses. When I was talking to Kenny, he'd be showing me photos. And Mason was right. We hadn't even spoken at that point yet, but he showed me pictures like, this is who I think is, this is going to be our Adam. This is going to be our Brady. And just a briefly flashback, our casting went from 6 people to 7 to 2 and then to 4. So we really, like Mason was saying, a few people dropped out and all we have is Mason and Mackenzie. And I just props to them. And I got to give shout out to Bree and Denny for swooping in last minute and pretty much saving our skin, because at that point we said, what is the fate of this project? And those two, combined with Mackenzie and Mason, the way they all worked together was incredible. And so just props to you guys for really just making magic happen there. Like there's no other words for it. So I had these images, and Kenny and I went over a couple character descriptions, and from that, so I pretty much just went off like the image alone, being like, what would this person say, or how would this person respond in a situation like this? And I'm happy to hear from Mason right now. I mean, that it ended up working out that way, because I really sat there just trying to think of the most believable dialogue. I know there's a couple moments where some people are like, would they really say that? And I mean, no movie's perfect, but for the most part, I thought that their exchanges seemed realistic, and that's what I really wanted to do here, was put a focus on these characters in this scenario and how would they react, how would they respond. And like I said, we went through quite a few drafts, but I think the final one we settled on, we really captured their personalities, and the actors just brought that to life. That's all thanks to you guys. Seriously, that was all your work right there. Once I was done writing, you guys did the rest.
I saw your cat checking out your DVDs behind you. What's the name of the cat?
Oh, so that's Gretchen. She was walking in front of the camera before, and she actually just closed the door to this room. So if you see me get up to open the door, I will be right back.
All right, no problem. Yeah, we usually have cat appearances on the show. My co-host Trista can't be here today, who has many cats, so I'm glad that a cat popped up for her.
Oh, excellent then.
Yeah. So, Denny, you said you're a longtime horror movie fan.
Absolutely.
I Living Dead up there, but what are some of your favorite horror movies? Is that a seagull on your shirt? It's I'm from Cape Cod, so that's like a symbol.
This is just a Hollister shirt, man, from work. But Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. It's probably my favorite movie of all time. It's what started everything, and I was so afraid of it as a kid too, but I couldn't stop watching it. I'm talking 4 years old, and I don't know if you've I've Robert England's portrait as Freddy Krueger tattooed on my arm, and that's what So
that's pretty sweet. How about yourself, Mason? You always been a horror movie fan too?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. The first horror movie I ever watched was Jeepers Creepers.
All right.
I'll never forget. I went with my mother actually to Blockbuster back in the day when that place was hopping. She rented that, and man, we didn't even get like 20 minutes into the film. I mean, the part where they're driving in the car and he's in the truck and he's like ramming the ass into their car and all that. That freaked me out when I was a little kid. I'm not going to lie. kind of pushed me away from horror for a little bit. But I was young. I was like probably 7, 8 years old. But the being scared really drew me in. You know what I mean? And as I got older, I liked that adrenaline rush. And then here I am years and years later. I've always liked horror films. Like one of my actual favorites is called The Collector. I don't know if anybody's ever seen it.
It's a cool
Yeah,
one.
that is my favorite horror movie ever. And then The Collection. That movies like that are intense, they really draw my attention. And to get to do something like this and to actually be a part of it and be on set and be a part of the scene that is actually intense. That's actually one thing I hear Denny say all the time. Our reactions in this film are real. They are not scripted, like the looks on our face and everything. They are extremely real. So to relate that to being a horror movie fan, I mean, it's an honor to be a part of the horror movie, period. But yeah, I've always been a horror movie fan. I'll be honest. I didn't actually watch the Night of the Living Dead until it was 2021 when like Tyler was talking about how we had all these cast members, we lost some, and I was reading over the script and everything, and I was like, I need to check these movies out and really get into it, and I did, and I fell in love. I'm actually running it in the background
I see
right
in
now.
the background. It's very cool.
Yeah, but ever since then, and I've always loved zombie slayers. I said on the last podcast I was on, I've always pictured myself as a zombie slayer. I love carrying around a baseball bat. I was a baseball player for a long time. And I don't know. The whole horror movie scene is definitely something I've been drawn to for a very long time. So
Yeah.
So to add something to that, when he just said our reactions was real. So when viewers watch this film, the expressions on our face, it's real. We weren't allowed to see the zombies in makeup. So when we like the scene, the scenes when we're seeing them on film, that's the first time seeing them. The reactions are real.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a part in the trailer where a zombie actually busts through a door and grabs Judy. And I don't want to spoil nothing, but the sounds that she made and what she said, it honestly, it didn't scare me. It gave me that like jump. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, "What? Holy shit!"
Startled. Yeah.
It felt real.
Yeah, it startled me. Right.
It really happened. Like,
it was great, and especially from that point on, when that happened, I knew from there. I was like, "Wow, this is real. Like, this is really happening. We're really doing this, man." And I mean, like I said before, here we are.
Yeah. Where cemetery was that shot at? There's some cemetery scenes at the beginning and stuff.
I know they went to the original one.
Oh, really? So, I think that's in Pennsylvania somewhere.
Yes, and then I think there's some other ones too, though. Like I'm not really for sure.
Yeah, that's
They
probably more like.
I've gone some around here in Kentucky, maybe.
Yeah. Tyler, how about yourself? What are some of your favorite horror movies?
One of my favorites is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, like Denny, I got into it at an early age. We're talking 5 years old. My dad put the VHS on. He fell asleep. Mom was out, so he was supposed to be watching me. And so I kind of sat down, and about 80 minutes later, I was like, what just happened to me? What was this?
It's a pretty hardcore movie to watch as a little kid, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wow. And it just really, here I am 5 years old, but I'm like, I was scared, but I knew I was safe. So I'm like, wow. This is a very unique feeling. Like, where else can I find this? A couple years later, the original Halloween, of course, Michael Myers became a favorite of mine. I got like a shrine of him in my room, like up at Tacky from Hey Arnold, for crying out loud. Just the masks, just every kind of DVD or Blu-ray copy of Halloween. That's probably my favorite franchise. But then also The Evil Dead. The Evil Dead is where things really took off for me. Me and my a close friend of mine. I fell in love with Evil Dead, and I just told him, I'm like, you got to see this movie. And he was very scared. He didn't like horror movies. Like, no, thank you. But as soon as he watched it, that kind of started us on our path of making short films. Like, well, that was crazy. And we watched behind the scenes. Like, we want to do this too. We saw what Sam Raimi could do with the camera, and we're like, it was such a huge inspiration. We're like, let's see what we can do.
I
And
would say the original Evil Dead and the original Night of the Living Dead are two of the more influential horror movies ever, because neither of them, they were made for a lot of money, and I think it gave people like, hey, this is possible to do without a giant budget if you're creative.
absolutely.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, I was just gonna say, absolutely, and that kind of made things seem more attainable. Like, this, maybe we can do this. We don't have 300 grand, but I got $10 for allowance this week, and you've been saving that $5 for a couple weeks. Let's go buy some corn syrup and red food color.
Yeah. Now you're in Massachusetts, but you probably were closest. A couple months ago, they showed the original, all three, Evil Dead 2, and the third one, Army of Darkness, outside by a cabin in the woods. Me and my friend Annabelle went to. It was a very fun experience.
Oh man, I'm livid that I missed that. Oh,
yeah,
that would be incredible.
Boston. Yeah, it was a good time. So I also like a lot of the political and social commentary in the movie. It's very current, talking about
Yes.
this is a hoax. Don't believe the science. Don't believe the science. I thought that was all really well done, and I think any genre, horror and sci-fi especially, always has an element of social commentary in there.
That was one of my favorite parts about the writing, Tyler, because the world, if you look in current times, everybody is so divisive on everything. And like that just, instead of, and it made it kind of fun too, like in our time right now, it's, who's the president or like medical shit. And this film is like whether or not zombies are real. Like, it's brilliant, man. Like, or did this really happen?
Yeah, and that ties in with with Romero. Always had social commentary in each of his first three zombie movies. Depending on what era they were made.
Right.
80s, 70s, and 60s. So I think that goes right along with with the original film. If it was made today, what would he be talking about?
And that was a challenge too, just because you said he has all these themes and that he's addressing in the movie, whether it be your consumerism and like a Dawn of the Dead or whatnot. And then we were trying to think, what's a way to pay tribute like that, not just say this is set apart. This isn't just any other zombie movie, because there's a plethora of those out there, and we didn't want to get buried in the mix. And and there's YouTube comments, people think, and we're trying to profit off of Romero, and that is just not the case. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, absolutely, but I think if you look deeper here, you'll realize there's a group of people that are really committed and passionate about what they're doing here. And at the end of the day, it's not about money. It's about trying to convey that same feeling, that same message.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, thank you. I'm so glad somebody finally said that. I looked at a lot of that, and I was kind of not necessarily blown away, but I don't want people to get the wrong idea that we're trying to steal art. We're just trying to add to art. And I actually made a really good comment previously that, not a lot of people are going to know who Karen Cooper is. Not a lot of people are going to know who George Romero is, but a lot of people know who we are. So they may come see this film and say, hey, I'm interested in looking into the past and watching these previous films. And we could potentially turn people that aren't even horror movie fans at all into original fans, you know what I mean? And putting them on the previous story and what we're trying to add on to. It was never, the mission was never to take anything from anything at all. It was to add to it. And I like what you said there, man. That was definitely well said. And we were just here to have a good time for a short amount of time, because it seems like it flew by, and just add to the legendary story and just keep it going, man. Like that's what we're here to do at the end of the day. So, and that's all I got to say about that.
Have you had a chance to see it with an audience yet, Mason? Or any of you guys really?
No.
Oh, so that'll be very exciting. I'm sure you guys won't know this, but I just had a premiere of my first feature film in August. So it's both nervous and it's exciting at the same time. You don't know how people are going to react to it. So going into it, well, what are your feelings, Mason? Like, obviously I'm sure you're looking forward to it, but so what are your feelings going into watching it for the first time with people?
Oh, I'm stoked. I've walked around and told everybody about it, honestly. I mean, a lot of people show up. I'm ready to, see original horror movie fans. I'm ready to see people that have no idea what the hell they're walking into. I'm ready to see people that look at me as maybe, I've got people at work, they're going to come watch it. Like people that look at me as like their supervisor at work to, like, damn, that guy's an actor and he plays in a horror
got a
movie
baseball
film.
bat.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
exactly. That my family, they've never kind of seen me in this light.
Oh, that's very cool.
I mean, am I nervous? Yeah, but I'd rather just embrace that and enjoy the film, enjoy this moment. There's nothing like this film. People may say bad things about the movie just out of spite about being pissed off over whatever. But hey, I mean, have you ever been in a movie before? You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited for sure.
Yeah. And it's the internet. There's going to be people who say negative things no matter what you say or do. So
100%. Congratulations on
thank you.
premiere last month though. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was very exciting. Denny, how about you going in? What are your thoughts?
I feel pretty good about it. Like, I know it's not like the perfect film, but it's not a bad film. It's actually a really good film. And I think so, like, hardcore George Romero fans, they might not like it because this last podcast we did, I was talking about this a little bit. Like, I'm a huge fan of, Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. It doesn't matter how much money they put into a new Nightmare on Elm Street. If it doesn't have Robert Englund in it, I'm not going to like it probably, So there might be people like that. But I think overall, people's really going to like it, man. And looking at the film itself, I don't think it really matters if they're a diehard horror fan or not. I think, it's going to appeal to a wide range of people. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I think it'll do really well. So, yeah, man.
And Tyler, are you making the trip to Kentucky or?
Unfortunately, I won't be able to join everyone down there. I did try to make arrangements about a month or so ago. Just wasn't in the cards. We are going to have a showing of it at the Starlight Art Gallery in Southbridge, Massachusetts on October 28th. It's actually going to be like a Day of the Dead sort of show, because after that, there's going to be like some zombie-themed or horror-themed bands playing later that night, same venue. So
very fun, yeah.
So yeah, we should have a pretty nice audience there. And just to add on, just when I finally do watch it with a group, Gretchen, you got to walk by? All right. So when I do finally watch it with a group, I don't know if anyone here knows Dave McCrae, but he said something and it really struck a chord with me. He said, it's a miracle that movies get made. Movies are so hard to make that it's just a miracle that it gets made. Whether it's our movie or your movie, the fact that it gets made is something in and of itself that we should be proud of, that you should be proud of. Whether or not, regardless of what people think of it, he says nobody sets out to make a bad movie. And I just and I thought to myself, well, obviously, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, he's right. Like, nobody's going out there to try and, piss people off or make a bad movie. We're all putting our best foot forward here. And, wherever the chips may fall, we'll see. But I feel really confident in this. Like Denny was saying, it's not a perfect movie. The last guy on the podcast said the only perfect movie is Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I don't know about that one, but I am.
And he's right. He's right. I mean, there was long hours. There was a lot of work, a lot of sweat. Like, there was times I would leave there and go to work and I would be smelling like complete shit, because I didn't have time to go, change. I will say this, we're saying it's not a bad movie. It's better. I'm a big fan of B movies. That's where, like, the 80s B movies, even modern B movies, like in the horror genre. Even if I wasn't in this film, I would watch this film. I think it holds up to about 95% of everything that's on Shudder, and most new horror movies, in my opinion. I really don't see any good horror movies in theater anymore. Like, I find them online. They're made by people like us, unless, maybe like the new Halloween movie, stuff like that. But typically, in present time, the majority of horror movies that come out in theaters, in my opinion, they're terrible. I would much rather find one streaming somewhere, like.
No, there's a lot of great. I go to a lot of festivals. There's a lot of great independent horror movies out there that do something different. And I think if it comes through in the movie that everyone was either having fun or trying to make something good, that to me that's more interesting than watching maybe something that's technically really well made, but there's no passion involved, or they're just kind of doing something I've seen a million times.
Everything just seems so rushed, man. Like they remake movies all the time, and I know the actors put in a lot of work, but it's just everything's so rushed. Like even the new Firestarter to me, like
that was not a good movie, but
yeah, I mean it wasn't. But that movie got more TV time, and more promotion than amazing movies that are B movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree with that. Did were you guys filming during COVID? I was just wondering if that had any effect on getting the movie made and finished.
Yes, Mackenzie actually got COVID while we were filming. Well, in the what was it, like the last week, Mason, or the week before that?
Something like that. She had contracted it. It wasn't from any of us. I'm not 100% sure where it was from, but I do know it wasn't from any of the other cast members. But unfortunately, that did happen. It peaks a lot here in the city that we're located in because she is from here as well, as far as I'm aware. And I mean, that shit happens, man. I mean, COVID is gnarly, it's dangerous, it's a real thing. And
it changed the scene too, right? Mackenzie was supposed to be at the podcast. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Today, right?
Yeah.
No. In the film.
Oh,
in the opening scene. Yeah.
So it did have an impact.
Yeah, we did have to do some things around that. No spoilers though, but there was some things that had happened that kind of altered the film a little bit. But as far as the crew goes, we worked around it quick and it was great. So I mean, Denny, Brianna, Tyler, Scott, Jake, everybody. I mean, the whole crew. We overcame adversity on a lot of different levels, and talking about it being hot, it was hot for sure.
There are times it was like over 100 degrees.
Yeah, it was hot just about every day that we shot.
Yeah,
I mean, you might have a slight breeze here and there, but I mean, it was like early in the morning to like way late in the afternoon, pushing the evening, peak summer, and I mean, I'd leave the set like usually covered in dirt and sweating my ass off. So,
yeah. Well, do you guys have a website for people to go and see, where it goes, after it plays? Because you guys in next year it's going to be, on physical DVD and Blu-ray. So, do you guys have a website or social media where people could follow and see what happens?
I don't really know the website they're using for the film. I know the film has a Facebook page.
Yeah,
but we all
that's good.
Our personal pages. Tyler, do you know the Facebook page for that right off?
As Denny was saying, I think it's just if you just search A Night of the Living Dead, it should come up as, I believe, a page you can like, and I think there's also a group you can join. I believe it's the same name. I could be wrong, but if you type in A Night of the Undead, I keep looking at Denny's background. Sorry, Denny. Yeah. I keep looking at the old poster. If you type in A Night of the Undead, you should be able to find the page to like, and there should also be a group that you can join too. And usually someone's an admin in there. We try and stay on top of posting things, most recently up to date with the film.
So have you ever actually been to Kentucky at all, Tyler?
I have not. I've actually never even been on a plane.
Oh, really?
Really, yeah. I was actually just talking to somebody at work about that today, and I'm like, and Kenny's messages me every other day. He says, you got to come down to Kentucky, right? I'm like, yes, I do. I absolutely do. I got to meet all these guys. I mean, I can't thank them enough for working their asses off in that hot weather. Just doing whatever it took to make this happen. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, because I watched this movie with pride, just knowing like you went through such hardships and you just kept on going. Nothing held you back, and more power to you guys.
Yeah, very cool.
I mean, hell, man, we all woke up every day ready to go and do that shit. I don't know. I can't really speak for anybody else, but I know I was ready. Mm-hmm. Every day I woke up, I was so excited for like shooting day. And it's actually Night of the Undead, and then in parentheses is 2022. That's the Facebook page. Okay. So yeah, you check that out.
I'll
Go
put the link
follow.
right here with the interview.
Yeah, man, that'd be great.
Very cool. Well, I'm very excited for you guys to see it with everybody, and then it goes from there. And I like a lot of the current stuff. I mentioned the social commentary, and then you also have a lot of stuff about podcasts, which in the original film, it's all people trying to watch the news, and that's not. I mean, that still exists today, but podcasts are huge today. That's where most people would get their news is online. So you got that in there, and not only the connection to the original one. I think there's a little bit of a connection to another Romero classic, The Crazies, with the people with the gas mask. So I kind of like that imagery in the movie. So
Yes.
people check it out and enjoy it. And I'm glad you guys joined me here today. It's been a good time.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And
Thanks
we
for having us.
Thank you so much, Neil.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe get to Kentucky, get some bourbon and Kentucky hot brown or whatever other food you have down in Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
thanks,
Thanks,
man.
appreciate it, man. Thank you all.
Yep.